Hi, I'm with Aston. Today I'm with Felicity and you're going to teach me how to harness. How hard can it be?
Hello, I'm Felicity. I'm just going to demonstrate how to harness up a driving horse. Right. We start with the collar. And you can see that you have to turn it upside down so that it's the shape of the horse's head. Turn it the narrowest point of the neck and then slide it down. I use a full collar with Daisy because it spreads the load on a greater area. You have to make sure that it fits really well or your horse can get sores, and you have to make sure that there's plenty of room here for her windpipe. This is the saddle, narrower than a riding saddle. And we have to attach the false martingale. It's called a false martingale because there's no straps coming up to the bit. The false martingale is to hold the collar secure and stop it bouncing around too much. Right, I'm doing up the girth and I'm making sure my hand is behind the buckle so that I don't pinch the horse. The driving saddle and the girth. And above that is the back band and the belly band, which is another full circle around. I'm just pulling the legs forward just to make sure that there's no pinched skin in the girth. Daisy? So we have two pieces so far, the collar, which together with the traces, the horse uses to pull the vehicle. This saddle holds the shafts up, and now we're putting this bit of equipment on, which is the breeching, and that's the brakes. And with this, the pony or horse will hold the vehicle back. I'm attaching it to the saddle here with a quick release clip, a parrot clip, and lifting up the tail to put the crupper on, which will keep this breeching in place. Good girl, Daisy. Right. Now I'm just making sure that there's no little hairs caught underneath there. And again, it's not murder tight here. There's about 2 fingers there underneath. Now, you can see these are the breeching straps, and as the vehicle gets pushed down the hill, this is attached to the shafts, and the horse will hold back the carriage with this breeching strap. It's halfway between the dock and the hock, and you want it to make sure that it's not too low, that it will take the legs away from the horse, and not too high, that it will push up under the tail. These are the traces. These get attached to the vehicle. I'm clipping the ends up here with a quick release trace end. This is so if there's an accident, you can quickly get the horse out of the vehicle by just pulling that rat's tail. Put it through the trace carriers. And then attaching it to the collar. Number 4 from the point, Tricia. In driving, you always, if you have an assistant, you always count from the point of the bit of harness. So this is because if somebody else makes holes up there, you don't know if they've done it on both sides. So you always count from the point. So this is on 4 from the point. Next come the reins. Now these are very long. You don't want to get them tangled up. So I put the buckle end under the back band. Let's go the other side, Trish. Right, then you put the reins through the terrets on the saddle, through the terrets on the collar, and back to these terrets temporarily. And buckle them. That's to make sure that if the horse puts its head down, the collar will not fall off. Right, now there are several ways of doing up the reins, but in this instance, I'm tying them in a knot. The reason why is because at this stage, your horse is nearly harnessed up except for the bridle. And at this point, you might want to go in, lock up your door, put things away, make sure you've got your bits and pieces on the carriage, the picnic, your mobile phone. And with the hay net, the horse is quite happily tacked up. And then when you're ready to go, we'll put the bridle on. Because Daisy's got a long forelock, I've plaited it to keep out of the way. The main difference between a riding and a driving bridle is the blinkers. And you have to make sure that the eye of the horse is in the middle of the blinkers and that the blinkers are not touching the eyes. You can adjust up here to make them either more open or closed. Because this is a driving horse, we have an underhalter which stays on under the bridle. I just tuck the noseband of the bridle through the head collar and the throat lash of the bridle through the head collar. You need about 2 fingers in the noseband and about 3 fingers in the throat lash. I have the throat lash slightly tighter than I would if I had a riding bridle, because it's really important to keep control of the horse. And if by any chance the bridle gets hooked off for any reason, the underhalter tucked into the bridle will reduce that risk. I'm just doing up the curb chain here. Now, driving bits nearly always have more than one adjustment for the reins. Daisy's a nice soft mouth, so it's just there on the snaffle, but you can see there's 2 more slots that we can put them, which will then bring the curb chain into action. And you adjust the curb chain so that it will be engaged at about 30 degrees angle. So if you put your hand behind the curb chain, when you've got a 30-degree angle here, it should put some pressure on. But at the moment, with the reins on this snaffle, the curb chain is defunct. But it doesn't, we still carry the curb chain because you get out, you're in company, and you might find that actually your horse that was quiet at home, in company with others, it's much stronger, and you may want to move your reins down from there to there, except you would never do that when the horse is in the carriage. It's only when they're out of the carriage that you would ever adjust anything on the reins. There she is, all tacked up and ready to go. So you can see there's basically 4 elements. There's the bridle and the reins, which is for direction and control. There's the collar and the traces, which is attached to the vehicle to be pulled. There's the saddle, and this holds the shafts of the vehicle, and then the breeching, which is the brakes. Daisy's all tacked up, ready to go. I'm just going to check the girth to make sure it's tight enough, because Daisy has breathed out. I'm going to just tighten it up by 1, keeping my hand behind. And you have the saddle not quite as tight as you would a riding girth. So Daisy is now all tacked up, ready to go. And it looks complicated, but if you divide it into 4, there's the bridle and the reins, which is for control and direction, the collar and the traces, which are attached to the vehicle, and she pulls with this bit. The saddle holds up the shaft, and then you have the breeching, which is the brakes. Good girl, Daisy. Well done.
For me it was hard, but there is a sequence to make it easier for you at home and watching on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.